Welcome everyone to the 10th episode. Double digits.
Of course, as soon as we start doing this, I get a phone call.
Oh my god.
No, it's fine.
Actually,
You're
do
fine.
you
You're
still
fine.
get phone calls?
Yeah, loads.
I barely get any phone calls anymore. It's all
I'm a
text.
very phone cally man.
Mm. I personally quite like phone calls way better than text, but you know.
It really depends. Let me just double check that everything's all right. Oh, I actually need to start recording as well.
Yeah, I
That
said we were like.
that yeah.
All right, no,
Sorry,
like,
like two things happen at once,
yeah,
and
no
just
problem. No, it's phone calls mostly. Like, if you do them, they got to be scheduled in, and I just it's just such a hassle. But yeah, like I really missed the days where it was like, oh, I'm just gonna call you because I feel like it, and I put on a funny ringtone, and I hear it, but you don't anymore. Anyway, today we're talking Warframe again. It seems last week there was a little bit of confusion about the FrameCast, whether it pertains to just Warframe or other things. FrameCast, to like explain the title, it could be interpreted as the War Framecast, but it's pretty much like everything that happens on the frame. We do tend to talk a lot about Warframe. Like today. Today we're going to be talking about modularity. Can Modular Archwing take off in Warframe at all? Have you seen or heard anything about Modular Archwing at all, Drew?
yes.
Cool.
Hey, that was a binary question. Like, you didn't ask me anything that was truly viable. You didn't ask me. Yeah. So, like, if you want me to talk the true, then just say, what is your opinion?
But I was like, maybe we can get along. Like I gave you like something to start off with, but here we go. Oh, I guess we don't go here. Oh shoot! Back when I showed you around the room with the webcam, and now apparently my computer's not working anymore. So we don't have a picture of the modular Archwing, which is really sad. Can I get it back? I cannot get it back. But yeah, can you fill people in as to like as what do you know about modular Archwing and what do you feel about it? And then I'm gonna try and get a
So,
picture back.
so at Le Tennocon 2019, were hosting an art panel which had Jeff, God, Ray, and I want to say someone called Matt. They're not someone that I typically see on their dev streams. And he turned around and said that. So they turned around and highlighted the whole modular Archwing. At least this is how I remember. I could be wrong, but they showed off the idea that you could actually build an Archwing out of random parts, which to me sounded like a bloody good idea.
All right, so we
No,
have them here on the screen right now. As far as I can
we
tell,
do.
we have like kind of like three sets, which are all going to be kind of like interchangeable. Why is this such a good idea? What is the brilliance of modular Archwings, or could be?
So, Archwing is something that people really struggle to get into,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm going to sit up a bit. And as a result, it's the modular side of things actually has high potential to it has high potential to give people the opportunity to experiment with Archwing. But I think at its core, the modular system will still have its own flaws. Whether or not it will have enough to save Archwing, I truly don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I genuinely hope it will.
So, what do you see as the big hurdle which people are now facing to get into Archwing? Why are people not getting to Archwing, and how could modular Archwing potentially step in on that?
So I think one of the big problems with modular weapons is the fact that there's a gray box of uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's you're trying to make something that is amazing as a weapon that you don't know what you're doing, right? So out of all of the Archwings, out of all of the kit guns and Zaws, the only part I can name off the top of my head is the catch moon, which is the barrel of one of the kit guns. That's the only one I can name, right? Because I don't like any of the Zaws, right? I'm still not sold on melee, though it has gotten better. And there isn't a Zaw equivalent of the Tatsu, so the Dia Nakana. And there's the catch moon is like the best gun for secondary, right? This replaced my Lato Vandal. This replaced my Vacor Murloc. This replaced my Axe Stilettos. This has replaced everything. This catch moon kit gun. And it's the only one I care about because it does the most damage, right? This is one of the biggest problems with modular weapons, right? Now, I'm going to ask you a little off-tangent question, right? Do you build your own computers?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I
right?
do build my own computers. And, honestly, I think it's a fun thing to do.
How long have you been building computers for?
So, I've only had, 2 computer sets built, so not long. Because, I don't go through that many computers.
Yeah, well, I think this is, the sort of time when people don't typically go through crap tons of computers. Like, this beast I have by my side, it's lasted me nearly 10 years.
Wow.
It's a 2nd generation i7, right?
Ooh.
And I was looking to upgrade before this Christmas, but I'm now having to look to upgrade after Christmas due to the whole move fiasco.
Dude,
but
you should look into Ryzen Zen 2.
I'm tempted.
It's so good.
Right. But my graphics card is a 2070.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I've got a 3 terabyte hard drive for video editing, exclusively for video editing. But I digress. Yeah, I realized I was going off tangent. The important thing is, you know how to build a computer.
Yeah.
So what happens if it starts making a funny clicking sound?
Shit's not good.
Shit's not good, right?
Shit's
okay,
not
that's
good.
fine, right? But as someone that's built your own computer, what do you do?
I would first turn it off.
You did, okay.
Yeah, I've never encountered it, but I would turn it off and I would determine where the clicking comes from.
You would determine where the clicking comes from? Whoa! Right,
no, I would just throw it out the window. I'll just throw it out the window. Yeah.
Say the problem is a hard drive, right? The hard drive is making a random clicking sound.
Oh, shit,
right?
I got that. Yeah.
Right? Then, what do you do, Michelle?
You replace the hard drive.
You replace the hard drive? What kind of crazy newfangled technology is this? Is there some kind of word that describes this whole being able to take parts out and put parts in?
Wait. Are you saying, okay, so I'm kind of blown away by this amazing tangent, but I'm thinking that I just have this amazing insight that, hold on, does modularity mean that I put things together and then piece them together forever, or does it mean that I can swap things out?
And that's the big thing, right? The problem with the modular weapons is that after you've built them for mastery, once you've completed the mastery fodder side of it, you literally grab it and you throw it away. I don't even bother naming my modular kit guns outside of the catch moon, which I've named Gunpla Gun. Yeah? So I don't know if you know what Gunpla is.
No, I don't.
Gunpla is the Gundam model kits.
Mm-hmm.
It's the traditional name in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, guess what Gundam model kits are? They're modular too!
Oh my god!
And you can take them apart and reassemble it. Yeah, so... But the whole point is that once you've built it, you can't disassemble it, and thus you just throw it in the pile of crap that you don't want. If I had the opportunity to disassemble various different parts and actually just have an experiment, I would much prefer that.
I can I can totally understand it. I have to say that the idea of building individual guns is fun, or individual modular items may seem fun on the surface. However, I remember Joey building the 100 kit guns, and I literally thought when he said that to me at first that he was doing it for like this kind of show off video where it's like I built 100 kit guns. No, it's literally like if you take every variation, you end up at 100, which I don't think you can expect anyone to try except for Joey. And then at the same time, it's like, well, if you don't expect every single person to try every single combination, well, then what's the point of it being modular in a sense? Because you have all these different like components which do different things, and then you want everyone to like try them out and then play around with them. But I
completely agree. No, I completely agree. So the whole point is to muck about, to get into it, to truly feel what it is you're after. Mm-hmm. Right? What makes you... So one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest reasons why everyone uses Catch Moon is that it has such a distinct advantage over all the other barrels, right? Mm-hmm. It deals more damage, and it's AoE, right? It's a shockwave. Mm-hmm. Yeah? So you're not only hitting one dude with one shot, you're hitting multiple dudes with one shot. So it's a really good corridor cleaning gun.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that because it has a distinct advantage, there is no reason to go and investigate the other parts, right? No. And this is a huge thing with cookie cutter builds. Have you ever played anything like World of Warcraft?
No, I have not. We should actually do that together.
Maybe. So you never played...
Just no.
Well, it's not as good as it was in its prime, but have you ever played an RPG that uses talent trees? Maybe even a first-person shooter that uses talent trees, but talent trees particularly.
I can't name one off the top of my head, but I'm pretty familiar with talent tree systems, so there isn't one that jumps to mind. But like I know I've used it. I just don't have a name right now, but yeah.
Anyone in chat, feel free to jump in and say, oh, I've experienced this. But a big thing with World of Warcraft, with the old talent tree system, was that there were some talents that were distinctly advantageous over the alternative options. Likewise, the Catch Moon barrel has a distinct advantage over the alternative options, right? There's a similar problem with the amps. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the amp, which is 442, which is like a rapid fire, high crit damage, high crit chance amp, again has a distinct advantage over all the others. And it's just like when you build the best one, there's no reason to build any other.
I fully agree. Sakamis also says, yeah, the good ones, so why bother with the rest? And I feel the same way. I haven't touched most of the modular stuff. Only now I'm getting into it because I took the few good ones and I left it at that. However, what I also think is interesting when it comes to pointing out the Catch Moon, or I actually have my modular weapon, which I referenced after Cole, but it's I think it's the Plaker Path, which is also actually a pretty good, pretty like solid saw. I think it's one of the most favorite saws out there. See people asking for ribbons all the time about it, but the thing is that these things are the exception, where you have a Catch Moon, where you have a Plaker Path, or you have this one amp which is pretty damn good. those are kind of the exception over the entire pile of modularity, which I feel is rather average. I don't feel even like the Plaker Path, as much as I really enjoy that weapon because I just use it because I enjoy the name, I enjoy the context that we use it in, and I just think it's a nice, fun, fast weapon. But it's not the best melee weapon there is out there. I think that when it comes to the kit guns, when it comes to all the modular items we've had so far, maybe with the exception of the Catch Moon, even though like it's being worked hard on to like bring that down again, which makes sense. I think that modular items are not necessarily sold on their insane stats. Their selling point is rather their modularity, which most of the time makes them not that great. It doesn't make them like the most amazing weapon, or it doesn't give them like this funny quirk to it, which makes it special. It's just modularity. That's the gimmick to it. And so bringing this to modular Archwings, I think that when it came to melee weapons, when it came to kit guns, when it came to AMs, I'm not quite sure about AMs because AMs kind of there was never really one. There was only the mode amp. There were no like solid by AMs. It was just like modular from the start. But when it came to melee weapons and secondary weapons, we already have a wide variety of them. They're a pretty solid category, and everyone uses a melee weapon and a secondary weapon. I think when it comes to Archwings, we're talking about a way different side of the game. And as you said at the start, a side of the game which a lot of people don't even tread into, or maybe have never really tread into. And making them modular, like, I really have some big questions with this design right here. It's like, it looks really cool. However, what I can tell from just the picture, and if you guys don't know what we're looking at because you're listening to it right now, we're looking at a 3 Warframe standing with 3 different looking Archwings. They're all kind of like light blue, grayish, and they look similar. They just have different shapes. And of course, they're going to have like different speeds or whatever. But it's not going to be... I'm pretty sure that they're going to have like stats which will have one have more health, one will have more strength. But I don't really see them designing a killer Warframe Archwing out of this. Rather, it will be, oh, this thing is modular, instead of, hey, this thing can do this thing can do that. And I don't think that Archwing suits that right now. I think that we have greater problems with Archwing right now, that I don't think that even this will pull in attention enough or even be sustainable enough, because yeah, it's just going to be modular again. And as we see with most modular items, like, one might be good if it's as good as a Catch Moon, but otherwise it's kind of like mediocre.
So if I was to put you on the spot right now, right, I have an idea, but if I was to put you on the spot, what would you do differently for the Archwing, the modular Archwings, compared to the other modular guns and melee weapons? What's one thing that bugs the ever-living bejesus out of you when it comes to modular weapons?
That we can't swap them around.
Okay, so let's go down that avenue, right? Would you be happy if you could swap the parts around only if it's gilded? No, only if it's max level ungilded, right? And it has, like, let's say an increasing cost of credits each time you pull it apart. Yeah, so let's say this one, so this engine, right, you've pulled it off 3 times, therefore the next time you unplug it, it costs 4,000 credits, next time 5,000 credits, so on and so forth.
I think I could live with that as like a general for modular items, for Archwings, for kit guns, for saws. I think that would be a great thing. Like, why do we guilt them? Like, just to give them some stats. I think that I would be totally down. I think that would make for a lot more experimenting with, let me go grab this Archwing. Let me fly around with it maybe in the simulacrum. Hey, this doesn't feel right. Let me swap it around. But I think my biggest problem is that I don't think that Archwing right now is ready for modular Archwings.
Okay. So okay. So we've got modular Archwings coming in, but the mission type isn't good enough or the mission types plural aren't good enough to be worth the effort, right? Okay. So
well, but actually, where do you see right now? Where do you see these fit in? Because I think the mission types is a big general problem with Archwing. But as we look at Archwing right now, where do you see these modular Archwings fit in? What hole are they going to fill? And who is going to be, with the history that we have of Zaws and Kitguns being, oh man, I'd take the good one. How successful do you think this is? Because I don't give it good chances.
If I was DE and I was to do anything, right, I would have it that each of the 3 parts, right, have a different ability associated to them. Right? So you could pick and choose which abilities you wanted based on which parts you build it with. And then your ultimate ability is based on the combination of all the parts. Yeah? So it's going to do something that's distinct, but say you have the combination of all the first Warframe parts. So could you actually bring up the image just to make everything easier for everyone to comprehend? So say you've got the doodad, the Archwing you're putting together, and you've got the entirety of the left-hand side that Loki is using, right? So let's call that the one set, the first set. That could have, let's say an AOE invisibility, right? That can move around like Prowl, yeah. It could have a heal, right? And it could have, or let's not give it a heal. Let's make it all about stealth. It could have like a flying projectile, the homing shot thing that Avara has as well. And it could have, let's say, a switch teleport like Loki has.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've picked those 3 parts, the 4th ability will be something, stealth oriented, right? But likewise, you could actually swap out the top part for the second one, which is a healing thing, and then it becomes something entirely different. So the 4th ability could be, an explosive. Oh no, a silent heal. Like, as people follow you in your wake, they actually get healed, right? You swap out the second part for the one that the Valkyrie has. Oh, that's a damage dealing one. So it's an explosive heal, right? So you actually shoot people with healing and things like that. So you could actually you'd have to do, I think, 27, I'm not entirely sure, different ultimate abilities. But no, it can't be that. No, it can't be that. Is it, let's say 9?
3x4.
No, I'm trying to think.
How many options do you have?
All the different combinations.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out too. I think it's 3 to the power of 3.
It's not mutually exclusive. So, I don't know. I'd have to work it out.
You'd have,
but
I think that like a dozen at least.
So if you have 111, 112, 113, then you got 121, 122, 123, 211, 2 12, 213, 3 Yeah, so I think you're looking probably around 16 different combinations.
Yeah.
But that it's like, you don't have to make the ultimate abilities crazy awesome. Yes, it would be a lot more additional work, but how awesome would that be? And then people could feel around and see what suits them, as opposed to just picking the Itzel, right? Or the Amisha.
I honestly think that if you go around the idea of where do I use Archwing the most, which would be in Fortuna or the Plains of Eidolon, where you fly around, I think it would be really interesting to be able to decide, like, hey, do I end up being shot out of the air a lot of times? Do I want to go invisible? Do I want to be able to send healing stuffs towards my teammates? I think it will be really interesting to customize your setup around your personal needs. The thing that I am kind of wondering about, because I think it's a really, really cool idea, especially for the modular, it really fits one with the modular theme, but given that Archwings are basically, with abilities, especially with abilities, the Warframes of the Archwing style, how would you feel about having a modular Warframe, where you would be able to take Warframes and then swap out their abilities? What if we would be able to swap out abilities of Warframes and then be able to like choose, I want to have Trinity's first, and I want to have Bladestorm because I love Bladestorm, and I want to have Rhino's Iron Skin, and I want to have whatever. Like, how would you feel about having modular Warframes in the sense that you can move around and swap abilities to the way that you like them?
It's actually really interesting because they actually spoke about doing that many, many years ago, that some abilities would just be interchangeable. But I don't think that that's necessarily a good idea, because some of the abilities they seem to be struggling with as it stands, right? Like the fact that Gauss can do it's not World on Fire, it's the other flame one that's like the static AoE. I can't remember what it's called. And they can do like a frost area as well. Like that feels to me it does detract a bit from Ember, but like Ember is pretty much just a working World on Fire, and that's it.
I think it will be, as people are also saying in the chat, it will be a big mess if we were to have modular Archwings, and it would be modular Warframes, and it would be a great deal to like the game balance and trying to like find a balance. And I think that we're facing the exact same thing if we're going down the way where we can swap out and impact abilities with Archwings. I really like the idea and of being able to like pick and choose the Archwing which you want in which situation you'd like. And it would work fine if we just regard the Archwing as a vehicle where you just fly around in on the plains of Eidolon and you just like do a little bit of healing, but you're not in it for most of the time. But there's also this Archwing section, and when it comes to the balance, I feel that a lot of people are very keen to point out when a Warframe is overpowered, but you were actually the very first one to bring up to me that actually when it comes to Archwings, the Itzel is just so overpowered you won't believe it.
Yeah.
This is just going to upset the entire balance of Archwing so much more that, like, if we are able to swap around abilities within modular Archwings, then picking, choosing Archwings will just be a joke. And I don't think that that is going to be in any way helpful to the situation that Archwing is in right now. I really don't think that Archwing needs such an imbalance at the moment, not if they're just going to continue it in the state that it's in right now. How do you feel about that?
I completely agree. I mean, it's there are so many messes. So Total Biscuit, rest his soul, said that Warframe is built on the ruins of a castle, built on the ruins of a castle, built on the ruins of a castle. Like, so many of the elements of Warframe are minimum viable products. Oh my god, Xeno said minimum viable products again!
Take a shot every time he says it.
Yeah, no. And... crap, what was I saying?
So basically, Total Biscuit said that it was
yes.
building upon the ruins of ruins.
Yeah.
What Warframe does. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this was one of the failings of Archwing, right? It's the fact that they decided to go a completely different way. They took away from the normal gameplay experience that people had built up towards, right? They tried to do something in terms of gameplay that people weren't accustomed to. People didn't like moving around in three-dimensional space. There's an episode of 10 o'clock. We actually had to re-record half of the episode because I struggled to do Archwing and play the game, so and do 10 o'clock at the same time. It's difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love the pursuit game type, right? I love the rush game type. I think people that I'm sorry, I might offend like everyone here. I apologize if I do. I love you all. I genuinely do. But when it came to the rush game type, where people just kept on, oh, I keep on banging into walls and things. I'm sorry, get good. Just fucking get good, right? I don't have this problem because I learned that there's such a thing as letting go of the space bar. You know, but people want to just go fast all the time. Well, try that on an F1 car. Yeah, see how far that gets you, right? I'm pretty sure you're going to come off the road at some point. You need to hit the brake. So I think that they need to play to the strengths. I don't know if you ever played it. Do you ever play the defense mission type for Archwing?
I think I have,
Right?
but it's one of the reasons that I never play it anymore, because like I think
You know it went right.
It's just a like go to the satellite, defend it.
No, that's mobile defense.
Oh wait, is that
Right.
what's defense though?
They had a proper defense mission type where you had to protect a corpus ship. You know, basically the shoe boxes. Yeah, you had to protect 2 of those in 2 separate rooms, right? But the waves, right? A 20-round wave took a minimum of 40 minutes. Was it 10? I can't remember. It was far too long because the AI couldn't cope with navigating through 3-dimensional space, right? The AI is built for you to go hunt down stuff in 3-dimensional space and kill it, right? Or to go in a straight line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the bigger problems with Archwing is the fact that not enough work has been put into it.
I think it's exactly what you brought up with what Total Biscuit said, that this is one of those ruins where I am afraid right now these concepts and the idea of modular archwings is really cool. Yeah, maybe we can go and, you know, do some fun stuff with abilities. I don't think it's a smart idea, but it's built on top of a massive ruin that's just being left there. And to me, if I have to dissect Archwing as far as like why I feel it failed, at least to me, is that I feel Archwing was taken of as like, let's take Warframe and put it in space. And I think that the new mission modes have been different, but pretty much the start, when you describe it as defense, it's like, oh, we need missions for Archwing. Let's just take a defense mission and let's just put it into space. And let's just take a mobile defense mission and put it in space. And let's just do exterminate for hallways and put it in space. And it just didn't work. It just didn't work. First of all, it's such a like a detached thing that you just have to get in and start all over again. But at the same time, it's worse than actual Warframe, because they've taken Warframe, like the base game of Warframe, and they've decided to like copy that into space instead of designing Archwing just from the ground up. So what you end up with is Archwing being this copy of Warframe, but with it being a copy of Warframe, but then in space, always makes it like less good than Warframe, because it's basically taking Warframe and then put it in space. And if you kind of like rip something up, it's never going to be as good as the original. And I think that was one of the main problems with Archwing, is that going through this small corporate ship to mobile defend something, and doing like just go through the hallways and do an experiment, or an entire, oh my god, this interception mission, which is like empty void of space and just like 4 towers. Horrible. It's just like, here you go, 4 towers, just sit here and just wait. It's just, it's not good. It's not like, it's not as engaging as the rest of the game, because it's just, Anyway, I've always been perplexed that I didn't like flying for literal space in a space game, because everything else we do, we can do in a ground game. Because, like, you just run in the ground. No, we're in space, and we can't even fly when we don't even enjoy flying in space. I think that's a massive problem, which Archwing is still kind of battling. I know the new game modes are more interesting, but I haven't really touched on those because, like, one of the big issues with Archwing is it's so separated. So, like, the only thing you get through doing Archwing missions is Archwing rewards. Like, get Archwing stubs. It's like, I don't really care. Like, actually, you can't even get them for the syndicates now. So why would you even do an Archwing mission? Why would you even go and get Archwing stuff if you don't care about Archwing? And for the most part, I've been playing for 6 years. I haven't really encountered times where I really felt that I needed to have an Archwing. Even right now in the planes and going around, like, yeah, I equip it, but just to get from one place to the other, then you get out of it. I don't really care whether it's an Itzel, or actually I do care if it's an Itzel, but I don't really care what I'm flying with, because you just ditch it, and it's not really integrated in the gameplay. It's not, I have never seen a public squad where people were seriously, like, unironically going around with their Archwing providing air support cover. Because, yeah.
So one of the things I would do is make some of the mods for guns and for melee work with my Archwing. So with my Archwing equipment, right? I'm not opposed to making it so that none of the Warframe mods can work with my Archwing equipment, but I at least put in augments for the Archwing equipment, for the Archwings themselves, right? Next, I would make it that the enemies can look up and shoot me. Right? Because that's one of the bigger problems when it comes to doing planes combat. You can't, or open world combat. You can't, because you keep on getting shot out of the air, like, just because the enemies cannot look up. Right? I've done, oh god, what's the infested boil? Plague Star. Yeah. I've done Plague Star, where I hop in a Archwing, fly up, and then the infested just start like as if they're genuine zombies, just milling around, not having a clue what to do, because they have no way of engaging the player, right? So first off, that needs fixing massively, and knocking players out of the air is not a solution to how to do Archwing combat with ground enemies.
No, it's right? It really, like, the idea of having Archwing around. I actually saw someone come forward and say, I think that, like, Railjack will actually put Archwing in the game because it's going to be much more of an element in there. And as much as I would hope so, like, number one, I really hope that would be the case, because if there's actually a reason to start modding your Archwing for, like, the general user to, like, come around, or even someone that's not really an Archwing believer like me to come around and say, I want to mod my Archwing, I want to work on it, I want to, like, find the best Archwing, then I think that these things might have a place. But I remember the same thing being said in Plains of Eidolon, when they jumped into the Archwing as a vehicle. It's like, oh my god, now we can actually fly around in the Archwings, like, and engaging ground troop combat. This is going to be like the start of Archwings. People will love it again. Didn't really happen. Same thing with arc guns. Now that we could, like, when they first showed off that people could use arc guns, it was like, oh my god, this is gonna be so cool. This might, like, bring arc guns back. I don't know about you, but, like, I barely use my arc gun ever since I just, like, stopped doing the yellow spider.
It's because they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball so damn. I'm sorry, D. I love you. I really, really do. But making it a gear item was a dumb mistake. I wanted to run around with my arc gun, trudging around, not even running, just going rat-a-tat-tat, right? Just mowing things down like Blaine from Predator. No one's going to know who that is. From that guy with the chain gun in Predator. Yeah, I watch Predator too much. I know all the characters by name. But that opportunity was taken. I don't know if the community was mewing over the fact that, oh, but our guns aren't as good as normal guns. Yeah, we'll put our bloody mods in there.
I really didn't get it. Like, I never understood the introduction of art guns. What I think went wrong massively there, and this is the way that I saw it. I might have been wrong, but this maybe it's just me. However, art guns were like operators. Basically, before Planes of Island came out, operators were kind of like this niche thing where like some people cared about, other people like me totally didn't. I didn't give a shit about them because the only thing they would like pop up and like fly around, shoot a beam. I was like, that disrupts my gameplay so much that I'd much rather just go around, use my abilities. Then all of a sudden they give us amps. They give us Eidolons. You go out, you go after the Eidolon, and the switching mechanic is so nice. It's just like you press 5, boom, it's out. Press 5, boom, it's in. And it takes a bit of getting used to, but it's so easy to use. You start finding the Eidolons, and then you're like, hey, I can use this in spy missions now because like my dash is so nice, and I can just like swap in and out. It works really intuitive, and I got to really like operators. Then art guns come around. Actually, I do want to add to the operators that it was just the operator was being brought out as this very weak thing. It was like, you really got to watch out. This is a weak operator. And like we went out with the idea of like, this is a very weak thing. You much rather use your Warframe. And over time, the thing became much stronger. Where like the amp could take down enemies. You could do operator-only missions without just being Tenno-Defton and doing it for a video. You could actually do them. Then art guns come around. Art guns, like Archwing, is a pretty like dead thing because like it's one of those ruins that Warframe just put down there and never looked back at. They kind of like bring it up as like, oh, we might do something with it. Boom, update comes around, Fortuna comes around. You can use your art gun to fight Prophet Taker. It's like, all right, but the way they introduce them, it's like these are weapons that most of the player base do not use on a regular basis. At the same time, it's a weapon which requires an entirely different set of mods, so most people do not have the mods for it. At the same time, it's probably weapons that might even be unleveled, because if you do not care about ranking things up, ranking everything up, and you touch War Archwing once and we're like, it's not for me, which I can totally understand, these weapons aren't going to be that great. Then they come around, and they introduce the Archwing. They're talking the story mode about we got to take down the spider, we're going to take it down, it's going to be so powerful, but we have an idea. We're going to introduce it to the power of your Archwing weapons. And I remember that line, and I just laughed so hard because it's like, dude, I got a Rubica Prime right here. It's doing so much more damage, you won't believe it. And then you turn around, you use it. It takes a minute to come down, to use. It's like most of it's like 50% you die. And then you have it, and then there's a timer on the thing, and it's like how much do you want me to not like them? It's like where the amp kind of came from a place of humility, and it actually had like a really nice intuitive thing to it, which kind of make you grow accustomed to it. Our guns just came in and we're like, this is a great thing, and you were just like, no it's not, yeah, it's such a great thing. Oh, you'll love it. I mean, you can do it with a timer. You can do it with like a really slow move because it's such a great thing. You're just saying like, no, it's not. And you see, it's not. It's really not.
So, like, if I had to... So, when they originally teased it, they said that the art guns, you could either equip that or you could equip your primary and secondary, right? They were hesitant about the melee weapons. And I think that you should have still been able to carry your melee weapon if you were carrying your arc gun as well, right? But so I'm trying to get comfortable. Yeah, slouching. There we go. The biggest problem with arc guns is the fact that there is no reason to use them over your standard primary weapon, right? So they should have made it that arc guns had a higher base stats, but you could use your primary mods, your primary weapon mods on the gun. Or let's just flip the table, right? You could use your primary and secondary mods on them, right? Just completely flip the table. But one of the biggest problems is I think they listen to the community. Oh, but I don't want to use them. I don't want to have to use them. It's like, well, you don't have to use them. Like, so the Profit Taker, I would argue, is the worst boss in the entirety of Warframe. I tried to do it on Sunday. I was getting so pissed off. I was just like, nope, I'm done. I hate this boss. I hate it with a passion. Not even playing it with friends is an enjoyable experience. I don't want to. And, you know, we gave up. We genuinely gave up. But I would personally, so you could use your mods in your art guns, right? You do not have a secondary and a primary, right? You move slower, but you shred everything, right? Yeah, and it's just like stuff like that, right? But it wouldn't be on a stupid gear wheel item. I hate that. I hate that so much.
It honestly, the amount of times that I've like gone around and clicked to turn on a glyph, and I was like, God damn it, I don't want that.
Right.
But
worse still, 5-minute fucking time.
Oh, I remember, dude. I remember when it was 10 minutes. I did a playthrough of that thing. I was like, because like, again, this comes back to the way that they were like all high and mighty in the game about this one gun that I never touched. It was like the worst gun in my entire arsenal. I remember like having that. Like I came into the the Prophet Taker fight. You shoot down the shields and you have to like fire it with your ARC gun. I shot a couple bullets with my ARC gun. I was like, see, that's not doing that much damage. Now let me try my Rubico Prime. I shot it. Oh shit, it's not doing any damage. Well, let me go back to my 10 minutes? Like back then it was still 10 minutes. Like I just wanted to like prove that I could do more damage with my primary weapon, which I guess you can. It just feels so forced in. It's something that doesn't really fit. It's something that doesn't really work. It just feels so forced. And I think inherently, if you look at the fight of the Prophet Taker versus something like an Eidolon, which I think an Eidolon fight is pretty good, I think that they're pretty similar because like the entire idea is like you use one set of weapons to like take down the shields, you use another set of weapons to like damage his health, and you do that a couple of times. The problem is though is that if you do an Eidolon, it's super smooth and intuitive. If you do a Prophet Taker, it's like go get your ARC guns ready. And it's just a giant mess. It's an absolute mess.
People have argued that the Exploiter, it is the Exploiter, isn't it? I keep saying Exterminator. No, the Exploiter, right, is nowhere near as bad as like I actually think the Exploiter is potentially one of the best bosses, right? The Ropodopolist. Yeah, the Ropodopolist was sort of like a Exploiter 2.1, right? But or 1.1, but yeah, even so, it's like the Exploiter taught you how to actually fight it because, well, yeah, it explained everything. Whereas the Prophet Taker, I hate the voice. We're just bashing on the Prophet Taker. Let's focus back on the ARC guns.
Well, I actually wanted to use the Prophet Taker as an example where it was like, because we were talking about the ARC guns and how like Archwing right now is just a ruin, and adding these things onto there, it's just gonna be like, well, I don't think that it serves a purpose. But then someone came around and said, well, what about Railjack, where it will be like part of the experience? And I think that ARC guns was the example where they try to take something from Archwing and put it in the middle of a fight, in the middle of like something new, in order to make it important. And I saw someone say that wouldn't it make sense for ARC guns to be stronger than primaries and secondaries because you can only like use them like for a short amount of time on a cooldown? It's like, yeah, that's what they're like telling you that they are, but they aren't. They don't feel like
really
it.
Not.
And I'm really afraid that with everything that we've seen them do with ARC guns, we'll go ahead and into Railjack, and it will be kind of the same, where it's like, hey, remember the ARC wings, which you've only kind of used to like move yourself around and not for building and not for fighting? Oh, you gotta use them right now, and they're so powerful. Trust me, they're powerful, okay? And you're just sitting there like, I hate it. because like the problem with the arc guns is not that we don't like the problem with arc guns is not that um we don't there is no situation where we're forced to use them. It's just that it's not fun to use them. There's a reason why we're not all out here doing Archwing. There's a reason why we're not all out here having our fun Archwing build, our serious Archwing build, our Archwing build for like team play, for solo play. It's because there's like it goes way deeper than just, oh, it's not in like a main thing. It's like that doesn't work. And if you're gonna put it in, if you're gonna force it into something like Railjack, I think we're gonna have a Profit Taker 2.0 where everyone will just kind of, or most people will dread the Archwing part, and then adding in all these Archwings right here, which are modular Archwings, which I think if we look at the modularity, what we talked about before, we might have one good one, but chances are it might just be like Zaws, where they're just all kind of average. And then it's just like, here we go. We just have some average arc guns here, just to pad out like the arcwing space, and everyone's just like, okay, and it will just continue to be a rune. And I don't want arcwing to be a rune. I actually want it to be touched and fixed up. But if it's gonna be where everyone's just like, oh, okay, then D will be also be like, oh, okay, and we'll just remain a rune forever.
Oof, my lad. Oof. Right. So I think modular Archwings have a lot of potential. I feel that they need to have a lot of supporting features and services and functionality added to them, but not necessarily for them. Well, right, no, for them, but not to them. That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So like being able to, for enemies to be able to look up and shoot us. For God, what's the whole abilities being associated to each individual part, not the whole thing. I think it would be better if we were able to disconnect them, so pull them apart and combine them. I also think it's, though I tip my hat off to them, and I'm more than happy to hear what our viewers have to say, but I think it would be better if all the individual parts contributed some form of mastery, right? That would give players reason to actually use them all, try them all out.
But have you tried all the kit guns and all the Zaws? Or all the
No, I've tried all the barrels, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've tried all the blades, but when I'm just turning it into mastery fodder, I just use the cheapest crap I can. Right?
Yeah.
So say for example, bring up the Archwing, the modular Archwing image again. But if you were to take the first set and make that the cheapest set, so someone can at least get one, you can then make them slightly more expensive each time, but you still have to build all three individual parts. But what happens if you're like, oh, I really like the first two parts of I like parts A and B of the first Archwing, but I like part C of the second Archwing. Being forced to make a third Archwing, which is the combination of the parts you want, just seems like such a kick in the nards, right?
I think that like the entire idea of modularity should have been from the start, where it's like you build all the parts and all the parts hold some mastery, like every part, and maybe it's a lot less mastery than we have right now in them, but they all hold some mastery, and once you've built them, you can swap them out and play with them. So if you want to build the entirety of the first set because that's the first Archwing you can get around to, cool. Then let's say you built the second one, you built the third one. You're like, actually, I really want to have like the bottom part from the third one, and I want to have like the top two parts from the first one. You don't have to like rebuild like an entire new Archwing because, oh my god, I really want to try that. Like, you can just swap them around because it's such a like unnecessary sink. And like, I know we need to have something to sink our resources into and sink our time into, but it's just, I did like Joey's 100 kit guns. I don't think anyone else has done that, and if you did, like, seriously, like, my condolences. It's just not it's such a thing that modular items could have, but they don't, and it's just like you're missing out on something massively.
I completely agree. I think that there's just so it is the minimum viable product, and unfortunately, the minimum viable product does not distinguish it any differently from your standard. Here's a pre-built gun, right? Or here's a pre-built melee weapon.
I actually think that this is worse than like a pre-built Archwing, because like, when was the last time you played Archwing?
Properly?
Yeah. Like, when was the last time you were like, let's go into an Archwing mission because, like, unironically, you were like, haha, let's go into the Archwing mission, let's see. No, just like, well, I thought, let me do an Archwing mission.
It's going to be forever ago, because I personally prefer to play with my friends over just playing by myself. I can't stand playing by myself. I'm such a lonely fucker that, you know, it's... But at the same time, I cannot comprehend. So I'm trying to get my wording correct here. I like playing Archwing. I do not like playing by myself. No one wants to play Archwing. I'd rather play what they want to do than play by myself.
So
right.
I can.
So for example, I like doing Fisher captures because they are fast, they are efficient, right? However, some of my friends that I play on the regular with, it's bugging the crap out of me, right? Some of my friends that I play on the regular with, they don't like the whole in and out of Fisher capture missions. Sometimes they'll put up with it for me. Other times they ask me, could I do a Fisher survival instead? I'll do a Fisher survival. Yeah. If you want to do it, I will do it. I'd rather have your company than not at all. Right.
Yeah.
But that's the big thing. No one wants to do Archwing.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think that almost no one wants to do Archwing?
There's a multitude of reasons why no one wants to do Archwing, right? Some people don't like the drifting around. Yeah. One of the reasons why the Itzels picked so often is because if you turn invisible, deadpan stop, right? It's one of the reasons why people, or I personally, struggled to hell with the original Sonic the Hedgehog game, right? Because when you stop, you don't deadpan stop, you drift a bit, right? There's this acceleration and deceleration, right, with Archwing. And I swear it's better in Space Wing than Shark Wing, right? But not Shark Wing, Skywing. But I've been told by Joey repeatedly that you stop faster in Skywing, and I swear it's the other way around. Anyway, but I think that's one reason. I don't think people like 6 Degrees of Freedom, right? They don't have to turn it on, right? I think some people don't like the fact that they can't have 6 Degrees of Freedom, but they don't know that they can turn it on. I think that people don't like hitting the walls constantly. That's a big factor. People don't like bouncing off stuff. People don't like the huge, vast amounts of empty space. Maybe it's a case of we have to color up the background, put some more nebulas in the sky or something like that. People don't like the limited option of environments. We can do exterminates on... let's see, the Grineer Galleon tile set, the Grineer asteroid tile set, the Corpus ship tile set, the Venus tile set, the Mars tile set, the Earth tile set, the planes, the Orbivalis, the Grineer shipyard, the new Jupiter, Europa, the Void, Underwater Sea Labs, and Kuva's Fortress tile set. Right, that's 14 different tile sets to
Mm.
do an exterminate on, right? Whereas in order to do a sabotage on
Archwing.
Archwing, there's one tile set. People get bored of it. People do not enjoy the monotony of seeing the same environment, right? One of the loveliest things about Warframe is the procedurally generated tiles that are put together. I much preferred the Jovian Concord release. Sorry, Accord. No, it is Concord.
It is Concord. Yeah, you got it right.
Concord.
You got it right.
I got it right,
Don't
and then I
screw
made it
up
wrong.
now.
Right, so then there's the Jovian Concord, and I much preferred that because I much preferred seeing environments that I'm always kept on my toes about what I'm observing. Orvalis was much better than Plains because they use the deformed terrain constantly, and I'm always thinking, where the F am I? Right? Because I can't get a full scope of where I am. The Plains of Eidolon, I get bored of because it's the same sort of thing. It's like, oh, there's that tree again. Oh, there's a lake. I'll go fishing there, I do. Oh, there's the cave I go mining in sometimes when I'm trying to find that stupid cache. Oh, there's the mine with all the gems in. I'm going to go in there and get some gems. Oh, you know, it's monotonous, right?
Yep.
At least with Orvalis, I personally have not been exposed to it nearly enough to remember every nook and cranny, right?
We also
Which
haven't
is
had
brilliant.
to explore every nook and cranny yet. Like, there's so large parts of the map where we don't even get to.
I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Hold on.
I agree.
Sorry.
I agree. So like go to the Fortuna map. I don't know if you're looking it up right now, but go to the Fortuna map and look at like craters. We never go there. However, I think if I'm listening to the things which you're listing as why people may not like it, which I completely resonate with because I'm a person that doesn't really like Archwing. I think that it's with it being a complete reset of progress, with it being a complete restart and having like its entire own mode. It feels like a tacked on gimmick which has a lot of like minor inconveniences, which because of it being this standalone gimmick become major inconveniences. So having the drifting, I don't like the drifting. I feel I got two giant wings on me. They gotta be able to stop me, but they don't. However, I mean, I also play as Nesha. Nesha drifts as well. I mean, I can deal with that. I think it's cool. I think it's alright. I think that a lot of like the space is not really looking all that interesting. It's like there are tiles which aren't all that great. Plains is kind of monotonous, but I can deal with that. But it's all these things together onto like an entirely separate tacked on thing which doesn't really feel Warframe like. And I was trying to think this first, like, why doesn't Archwing work as this Warframe in space? I've always assumed that it was like Warframe in space, that's the reason why it failed for me, because it was like, why do another version of Warframe which is a little bit shittier if you can also just do regular Warframe in the same game? However, if you think about it, like, operators were basically like another layer of Warframe. Basically, they took like Warframes. It's like, well, they're smaller, less agile, less armor and stuff, less survivable Warframes, which don't really have that many abilities, but they do have a gun, and with the focus system, you can give them some like longer invisibility. You can give them health, energy regeneration. So basically, it's like it's like basically taking Warframe and Warframe as humans or something like that. I mean, I don't know what you would call it, but that integrated so well. So how come that Warframe as Tenno integrated so well, where Warframe in space completely doesn't integrate? And
I hate to jump on your toes like this, but I'm sorry, you're forgetting how badly it did integrate, right? To begin with, all your operator could do was T-pose, fly around, and shoot a laser from their chest.
Yeah.
right? Or in my case, actually, I'm pretty sure that the core abilities of the focus schools was to remain the same, but like Vazarin, it was just a case of like, I T-pose and heal everyone. I am special. Look at me. You know, it's but
Yeah, no,
there was an
I really didn't like it at that time. It grew on me when they changed it. So I think that now it's integrated well, but I 100% agree with you. It was very poorly integrated and I hated it. But it's better integrated now. And why is it how did that succeed into being better integrated?
Do you remember Draco, right? The old Draco.
Yeah.
Where focus was only gained personally. And then you had people like everyone was playing an Ashe trying to steal all the kills, right? So that they could max out their focus as fast as possible, right? That was changed. But the biggest problem with Archwing is there isn't a unifying voice saying what the problem is. Everyone is saying like something different, right? Okay, I want everyone in chat, right? Again, love you all. I want you to pick one problem you have with Archwing, one fault you have with Archwing, and I want you to write it in chat, right? Try not to read what other people are saying. I want to see how many of your responses actually match up with the other people watching, because I don't think nearly any of them do, right? So many people will say something different.
I'm pretty interested.
Yeah, because if I had to pick anything, it's the lack of mission types. What would you pick?
I think it's the fact that it's a separate feature instead of being overlain. So where it's like you can use an operator everywhere because the operator is like you can use it into the maps. Archwing you can only use in Archwing missions or in the planes as like a vehicle, but I don't really feel like it really comes into its right. Yeah, it's a vehicle, but like there's no way to incentivize or give reason or any way where it's like, hey, let's have 2 10 on the ground and 2 up in the air providing air support. There's nowhere in the game where it's in any way supported or even demonstrated. So it's like this entire separate thing, and because of that, it's like, well, like DE will not make 20 different exterminate maps completely different looking for like this one separate section, which no one does. Where I think that if it was integrated, like let's say that the operators were only capable of playing in operator missions, it's like that would have died really fast.
No, I completely agree with you. Right, so let's have a look at what people have let's see what people have said. So Zachimus, turn S into a brake pedal. Cold by Daylight. I dislike the controls of the Archwing on the keyboard. Navy Dyer. God awful maps. Arteria Faith. Relearning everything when you start with Archwing. Skipping what you said. Cephalon Tribal feels incomplete. Piffelix?
Yeah.
I don't like the Archwing got so little to no use. Nazareth. I think the lack of fine movement, that's actually the worst. Blue Saber, I bump into and fall so much I die. Kane Blooden, I'm playing a Space Ninja game. It doesn't feel like that in Archwing.
I think I can already distinguish. Oh, Emmy Core comes around. Archwing is too floaty and slidey. It needs some weight. Make it like flying planes in Battlefield or something. Doesn't matter if it's space. Feels like shit. I think that there are 2 main trends which I see with these answers. Number 1 is movement, and number 2 is like it's kind of what I said before with there's very little variety, and it's like it's this entire separate thing which you have to start all over again. It feels it's like it's a separate thing. I think that
I think my point is relatively proven that there are too many different answers, right? There are repeating answers, but out of all of the things people have said, there's very few people saying the exact same thing, right? Or similar, right? And as a result, are you really going to go count them?
Well, I mean, if I look at the responses, Sakamus saying turn S into a brake paddle. Aligns with like that's a control issue. Cold Daylight, I
Yeah.
dislike the control issue.
Right.
We have I don't let's see, the lack of fine movement, control issue. I bump into
Yeah, but that's Nazareth,
yeah, Massive
right?
says
Right.
control issue. Blue Saber, I bump into everything, fall so much I die. Control issue. Like those
Yeah.
are control issues. Like that's
Yes.
that's
Those are right, but we've also got people saying dislike the maps, right? Dislike the lack of integration. Dislike starting again, right?
yeah.
If you had to,
So that's that's an integration issue. Like if everything if the entire problem of Arcing was one single problem, like that would be easy.
they could fix it. Yeah.
But I think it's I think right now I think we're having like I'm totally fine finding two core problems, and I think that we're having two core problems. Number one being the controls. There's a control issue where a lot of people don't like controlling it, and number two is the integration aspect where it's so badly integrated in Warframe that you have to start all over again, and you have an entire separate part of Warframe which is very underappreciated because it's an entire separate part of Warframe. I think if we could make if the controls were made better and if it was integrated into regular Warframe gameplay instead of making this separate thing which barely gets any love because like we know how Warframe does it, like I think
But
a lot of these complaints will be solved.
let's okay. So solving the problem of janky ass movement, that's relatively easy, right?
Yeah.
Solving the problem of integration, that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's super duper hard, right? The reason why it works out on the plains is because the map is so effing big.
But
right?
I would argue it doesn't work on the plains. It's like it works as a vehicle, but
Yes.
I couldn't give a shit about whether it was an Archwing or whether I just literally had like like space fairy wings that were just flopping around. It doesn't matter. It's just like the only thing that I care about is that I have something that brings me from point A to point B. I don't think Archwing as a mechanic is integrated at all because I don't care about the Archwing that I have on, especially if there's going to be universal blink, and I don't use any abilities. I don't mod my
fine.
thing.
Ignoring that, right? Ignoring that, right? It can't work in the Corpus tile set. The Corpus tile set is too small, right? It can't work in the Grineer Galleon tile set. Same problem. Or any of the other tile sets. It does not work because the Archwing is a lot bigger than this traditional Warframe, and thus it cannot integrate. So their options are either rebuilding all the tile sets so an Archwing can be flown around them. They're not going to do that, right? Or they have to make a new gameplay experience which makes Archwing great again. Yeah?
I think I agree with you on that. It would not fit into the regular tile set. Just when you said that, I started thinking about, well, I think that Archwing has been a bolder move than any of the open worlds have ever been, because it's been trying to integrate something into the gameplay that this game was not ready for. It's like it doesn't fit. Like an operator fits. Like they didn't get the execution right, but it could fit inside the gameplay. It could fit inside the core gameplay of the hallway runner and the hallway shooter. It fit. The open worlds, even though people had some problems with it, and I still think that like they're not the best retainers of keeping people around there, they still work in the sense of having the same type of missions, the same type of content flow. It's just a larger world. It's Archwing, just it needs such an entire revamp that you gotta change the game. I think that the only ways right now, like just from the top of my head, how I think we could integrate them, and I think that you might have to like take this as like the way to integrate them, because that might be the most natural, because it doesn't feel natural, and I think that that's the biggest thing. It doesn't feel Warframe because it's not Warframe, And I think that if you like, where the place we could integrate them would be like open worlds, but give them a use. So give them like a reason as like, well, how would you use your abilities in combination with bounties, and how can you make that feel like you see corpus flying around when you're doing bounties? Why are Tenno not flying around fighting them? It just, there's a reason that that doesn't work. And secondly, I think that Railjack might be, and like I know I'm coming back, I criticized this comment before, but I think I'm gonna have to like kind of agree with it in the sense that this could be a chance for Warframe to integrate Archwing into a place where it might fit. Although I'm gonna put a huge asterisk there, where I'm like, Railjack is gonna be so different from any of the standard any of the base Warframe game that it's gonna be pretty much like Archwing, a separate game, a separate kind of base game added to Warframe, that I'm really interested to see how it will be integrated in the game, how people will like the game, how people will like it, and whether it will get traction. I think that Railjack will be the biggest chance for Archwing to shine if they do it right, and I don't know if they will.
I think they need to integrate Archwing into Railjack as little as possible, right? It might sound defeatist, and I can appreciate that, but the problem with, okay, so imagine you're have you seen Star Wars? Surely you've seen Star Wars.
No, I have not. I was watching that when I was like 10 or so.
Genuinely, there are plenty of people that I know who have not seen any of the Star Wars films, but
yeah,
not
I've seen
gonna.
Star Wars. Yeah, go ahead.
We're gonna glaze over that. Imagine you are a, oh god, what's a, like, I don't know. You are piloting a Star Destroyer, right? You're flying around, and there are other huge Star Destroyer ships of equivalent size, you know, flying around, you know, just patrolling space, right? And then you are given the option to go into a TIE fighter and attack that Star Destroyer. How does that instantly make you feel?
That is what that's what I always wanted in my space game.
Are you serious? My instant reaction is, this is stupid. Why don't I just ram it with the other with the Star Destroyer I'm flying? That makes so much more sense.
Dude, like, seriously, I mean, no. I always wanted, like, within, like, I was always like, why the hell do we have, like, do we only run around in a bloody space game? Like, I want to be able, like, this is what kind of sold me in Archwing, and this is what kind of lost me in Archwing at the same time, is when we were jumping out of the ship, and we were, like, having to fly between these two capital ships, like, fighting and colliding. It was like, oh shit, we're in a space battle. That works. I mean, like, honestly, but, like, if you
hold on, no, I want to stop you, right? Having a space battle between two capital ships. What are you space battling? You are a TIE fighter. What are you fighting?
Both. Yeah.
Right?
Both of them.
My gut reaction is, you want to fight something on your scale, right? If you are in an Archwing, you don't want to fight the giant ass ship. You want to fight something on your scale. You want to have dogfights. You want to fly around chasing stuff down, shooting it, right? This is something that Archwing currently does not accommodate, because the NPCs do not have the same movement as the Warframes, right? They stop. They turn. They're like, am I facing the right way? You know, the enemy AI is dumb as shit, right? You cannot have that. I'm totally in agreement with you. I want to have that amazing space battle between two capital ships as well, right? Not going to deny that. But one of the biggest problems is the fact that the enemy cannot keep up with us, right? We do a corpus sabotage Archwing, right? And stop, shoot, fly. Stop, shoot, fly. Stop, shoot, right? One of the amazing things about the pursuit mission is you have to fight while moving, right? Keep going.
No, you convinced me on that, because I was thinking more along the lines of, you know, you you're doing this one. Let's say you're doing this one mission in this one corporate ship, and then you have to like get out and you have to like fly like around the radar and maybe like disable like a gun or something on that ship. But that would be kind of like like a mid mission like side alternative or something, which would be kind of cool. But then again, like it might also get boring really fast. I think that you hit the nail on the head when it comes to like the AI and the enemies you got to fight, because yeah, let's face it, like if we're gonna be fighting with Railjack, like with like our ships ourselves, we're gonna be fighting other ships, then Archwings will just be kind of like abundant again. We'll just be like, oh, there comes the Railjack. No, there comes the Archwing. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna like fly around with it. Doesn't really like fit anything. Like I think that Warframes have their. Actually, I don't know. I mean, Warframes don't really have their adversaries because like we're way stronger than everything in the game. But the thing is that the enemies will move in front of you, so you can kill them pretty fast. In Archwing, the enemies just don't move at all, and I think that we're gonna have to see how Railjack will work. But hopefully, Railjack will work like decently with fighting these ships, and then Archwing, like the person in Archwing, will just be like kind of like the third wheel, which it kind of is. And I think, like as defeatist that you called it, like I agree. I think it's even with Railjack, it's to remain the third wheel. Yeah, I don't think that Railjack is to be the place right now to put it, and I don't think anyone should try to make it the place to put it right now, because I think Railjack is going to be a massive big step of trying to integrate an entirely new thing of the game, because like we can't use the Warframe base game. It's pretty much going to be like another Archwing thing, which they're going to attempt, which is taking like an entirely new game system and adding it on. Like this is not gonna be fitted anywhere within the Warframe base game. Like you're not gonna be able to fit a ship on a Railjack ship within the hallways. It's gonna be entirely different. So I think Railjack needs everything it can for it to make it work, because yeah, like I'm kind of afraid, and I don't think that we gotta like in this attempt to like launch for the first time something that doesn't, well, for the second time something that doesn't like build on from the base game of Warframe, but actually like make something separately. I don't think that with that like somehow like hopeful birth, we shouldn't try to like resuscitate like this Archwing thing at the same time, because I don't think like we're in a position where we should be doing that.
If I was given like the directing chair, if I was like, Zuno, decide what we do with Archwing. Right, I would make a mission for Railjack, which is you have to escort you have to take some passengers from point A to point B, right? But your Railjack guns are slow but powerful, right? So you could wipe out any Archwing-sized enemy in one shot if you could hit them. Yeah. So with that sort of escort kind of mission, I would want it that it is better for you to get out of the Railjack to shoot down those enemies that are zipping by and things like that are trying to trying to get on board and things, than you trying to shoot them down with the Railjack weapons. So it can just be as simple as you've got to navigate a asteroid field, so you have to have a pilot constantly, yeah, or the pilot could stop. Then the enemies are coming out from behind the asteroids, so you can go there in your Archwing to hunt them down and things, but you have to stop them outside of the thingy, the Railjack, because they can damage your ship to the point of, you're hemorrhaging atmosphere, and then your passengers die. Right? So that is one way I would look to tackle it, right? Now you could use your giant your Railjack guns to shoot the tiny piddling Archwing-sized enemies out of the sky, but you're going to struggle trying to hit them, right? On a small minor tangent, right? I practiced. So Battlefield 1942, the first Battlefield game to come out, I got a destroyer class ship. I rammed it. So I beached the destroyer class ship, and then I practiced for hours to aim and shoot the planes out of the sky with artillery cannons. Right? So the ship was stationary, and I would just predict where the plane was going, and I'd shoot it out of the air, right? And my friends would just completely and utterly floored, right? So let's have it. You can do it with the Railjack guns, but you have to be bloody good at doing it. And I certainly struggle with distance when it comes to Archwing gameplay, like being able to work out the distance. And yeah, so what Navy Deer, I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce your name. That is what TIE fighters are for. Exactly. TIE fighters are for fighting X-wings and Y-wings and A-wings, right? They are fighting the similar sized aircraft. That is one mission I would look to implement, or one game mode I would look to implement into Warframe. Yeah? But Archwing requires a lot of work for it, right? The enemies have to be fast.
I think I think I'm gonna take from what Cold Daylight said. They suggested they could downscale the Archwing more like a jump pack. That it's an easy way to integrate an Archwing into a smaller jump pack ensemble, one that could be expanded once you get to a free roam setting. I think that downscaling Archwing into a thing you can use within another mission, where it comes to like in the planes, you can use it as as a means of travel, or providing air support, which I do think that if they really want to go down that route, they would have to like give us a reason to use it, because right now there's no reason to use it, especially if every Archwing is going to have like blink. Then like who cares what Archwing you have? But I think that when it comes to Railjack, 100%, I agree with like that would be a perfect situation if you would have appropriate enemies within the Railjack mission, where you would have to like defend the slow moving powerful ship which can't keep up with the Archwing sized enemies that are trying to like attack it and disable the guns. That would be a perfect placement. I think that would be the best place for Archwing, and not like what we have right now, separate Archwing missions. Because like, let's imagine that Railjack came out, Archwing did not exist, Railjack would come out, you would have this ship, and they would say, oh yeah, so you're driving the ship right now, but if you're gonna have enemies attack it, if you want to like get them off your guns, you go out into this Warframe suited wings, and you can go out and kill them. I think everyone would be amazed by it, other than right now us saying, oh, it's Archwing, you can go out into your Archwing. I think that might even be a way better place if they do the enemies right, which I think they actually can. In like a space battle, it makes sense that they have these enemies which are kind of like Warframe equivalents, or like a little bit less powerful than Warframes, but Warframe like Edge-like enemies flying around, other than just like, oh, they're just flying around a base, because that doesn't really work. I think that it would work way better as an element of something better. May be like a transportation vehicle within the planes, or a support vehicle within planes, or as the way that you described, a TIE fighter in a battle on Railjack. I think that would be, to me, the way that I've heard from you and the way that I'm reading in chat, like I think that would be the best solution with Archwing. Yeah. Might we have to forfeit the Archwing missions that we have right now? Might we have to be able to have some bleed through of the mods that we have on our Warframes towards our Archwings? Might we have to forfeit some of that Archwing as like this separate thing? Maybe, but like I don't think, at least I wouldn't like feel too bad about it, because I don't think in the years that Archwing has been around, it's ever truly worked as it has been intended.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And yeah, I do feel that people starting over again is one of the hugest complaints that people have.
It is, but Railjack's going to be the same. like you're gonna start all over in a new Railjack. Like you're never gonna have a rail like you've never had a Railjack. All of a sudden you're gonna have one, but like you're gonna be moved to an entirely different section of the game. That's why I don't think Railjack. I think Railjack is one of the like scariest things or like the biggest things to change because like there's almost nothing of the base game that connects to it. At the same time, I could see using maybe Archwing mods or having Warframe mods or having Warframe mods have effect on the Archwing so that maybe I still have your individual Archwing mods because people might not want to do away with them, but like the Warframe mods that you already have impact your Archwing already that you're not like rank 0 when you like pick it up at mastering 27.
Yeah. Like that was originally how it worked. Like your health of your Archwing was dictated by the health of your Warframe. So it was always better to take Frost or maybe Atlas was around at that point. I can't remember. And no, Atlas wasn't. Atlas was not around at that point.
No,
so, it was always better to take Frost and but they changed that, and too rightly they changed it. But at the same time, like there should be some stuff that impacts your Archwing, right? Maybe not in association to your Warframe, but certainly, hey, let's just plug on redirection and vitality. You know, just fuck it, just put it on there. Job done, right? Oh, you need to level up a separate set. Okay, I don't care. You know,
I mean, if I would have to like level up separate Umbral sets for my Archwing.
No Umbral. No Umbral. Oof. But yeah.
So yeah, coming back round, do you think that modular Archwings in the current state will take off?
I don't know. I think it depends on the Archwing itself. It's like, to me, Zaws didn't take off because there was like one Zaw that was a bit better than the other Zaws. But what's the name of the freaking Kitguns, right? Kitguns did take off because of Catch Moon, right? So I think modular Archwings can take off if they are done better than the Archwing, so the Kitguns and so on and so forth that are right now. Yeah. Otherwise, it's gonna just flop.
I think that in the current state, as it is right now, without Railjack, it would flop because there is so much more reason to use a melee weapon or a secondary in the game, and the fact that the reason that and the way that Kitguns and Saws weren't all a great success or aren't all everywhere used except for the Catch Moon, for something which is so regularly used within Warframe, having this thing for such a niche thing as Archwing, where right now if Universal Blink is going to be a thing, I am not going to give two shits about which Archwing I use because I just use it to travel around, and I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it is. The only thing which I think could make modular Archwings like these work is if they have a better implementation in Railjack, like you described as like TIE fighters to your Star Wars Star Cruiser battle. Like, yes, I could see a future in them. Otherwise, I think they might have been better off doing modular primaries than this.
Yeah.
All right, so ready to go to questions?
Yeah, I think we've verbally barfed enough. So yeah, let's questionize this shenanigans.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me put it down in the chat below. I also think that we can start. I think we can also start doing questions in YouTube comments, and we can bring them up if we have interesting ones. Yeah, like I think like maybe we gotta talk about that. But we'll have more to talk about after the questions about the next FrameCast. I mean, we're on 10. Like, this is insane. 10 episodes of the FrameCast.
Like we have outdone most of the other podcasts. And it's my second podcast. It's really like cheating.
In the same week that you hit 300 on 10 o'clock.
Oh my god.
Oh man, you're gonna have like special episodes for like 2 podcasts in like the same week at some point, and it will just be like,
I'm going to shoot myself because I thought this was a good idea.
All right.
Okay, so let's see. Nazeth says, should they add Archwing Spectres for us to deploy missions? Yes. Just flat out yes. I don't think an Archwing mission should ever be done on your own. I think that, like, what's the name of the... Oh, God, Index. Index throws Spectres. I think Archwing should throw in Spectres because it is dull to do it by yourself. Not if you choose to be solo or invite only, right? If you choose to segregate yourself to force the Spectres, nope, tough titties. That's not fair. Sentinels in space. Yes, I like this idea as much as I like having my Kavat have an Archwing and fly around and munching things.
Okay, so to both questions, companions in space, I would love for like Kafats and like just all companions to spawn in space, but only Sentinels can fly around. If you spawn with like Kafat or Kubra, they'll just like wiggle around in space and won't be able to do anything and to extract. I would love that. And I would love for Eidolon Spectres in any mission. So even if it's just like a regular Warframe mission, if you're just running around on that Corpus ship house that you look outside the window, they're just like flying around, like looking at you like, what the hell did I do? And you're just like, I don't know, you're a Spectre, you make it out. Yeah, I would love that. But no, yeah, Sentinels could work. And yeah, Spectres as well. What about Sentience in space?
Yes! No, we totally need sentience in space, right? I think that is where a lot of sentience should be. They should, you know, like, I really hope that after New War, right, there is a lot of Archwing combat around that sentient structure that is supposed to be, you know, just give us exterminate. I don't care. We are trying to keep the numbers of sentience down, right? Totally down for that. It doesn't have to have, you know, origin system-wide consequences. I don't really care for that, but yeah, no, that makes thematic sense.
Yeah, I mean, I want to fight sentience just in general, because like it's been like 5 years almost, 4 years since they were first introduced, and like I don't think I've ever fought a sentient mission. Like they show up sometimes, but I've never really fought them.
I cannot wait for the new war for that enemy that is effectively a floating portal that opens up and stuff starts spewing out. I cannot wait for that enemy. I will fight my Tenno brethren to stop them from breaking it because I want more sentience. Right. Okay, so Navy Dyer, with the introduction to Squad Link, should Archwing squads be able to link with ground squads to spawn an optional side objective that offers more rewards at a greater risk? Hell yes! Give, like, you know, double the rewards, triple the rewards. Give proper incentive to do Archwing stuff, right? I'm totally down for that. 100% down for that. I'd also like to see better integration between normal missions and Archwing missions. So, like, you know, I'm running down this Corpus ship. Oh no, the hull's breached. I've been thrown out into space. Oh, I will now have to do this trench run. Like, that works. That bloody works, right?
So, how do you feel about Uranus? Sharkwing missions.
My anus is fine. I'm sorry, bad joke. Sharkwing missions,
trying.
They need a huge improvement. I'm sorry, it doesn't make thematic sense, but fuck it, let us move faster. I am sick of how slow you move in that. Thematically, it makes a hell of a lot of sense, but I just so slow.
Because
like, it doesn't have to be a lot faster, just a bit.
Because basically, Sharkwing is what you describe as, oh, I'm blown out now, so I have to use my... That is what it is. It's like, oh, there's water, so I have to use it. I haven't encountered anyone that's like, my God, every morning I just go out and fight so regular. I hate his voice. I hate everything about him. Not because he's a super sexy boss, but no. I do it because I love going into the water and just going for it. I don't think I know anyone that likes it.
I knew loads of people that refused to do Uranus because of the chance of ended up in Sharkwing, because they hated Sharkwing so damn much. I get it. Part of the problem is that Sharkwing is in such tight corridors. I get it. But at the same time, it's not as bad as fucking... What's the name of the other one?
Archwing.
Yeah, but basic Space Wing. Yeah. Because, you know, you can always see where the floor is. Anyway. Squad link sets toggle not gear item, right? No confirmation on that. I just really hope that they do change how squad link is going to work. What about sentience in other places than Lure besides those quests? I completely agree. You spelled Lure wrong. How do you feel about reviving allies in space? Oh, it's really clumsy. It's like, if anything, what I would like is... Oh, you know that tendril thing that we're now getting, the hack thing? Yeah?
What kind of thing?
The hack spike. They had... Oh, did you watch the last dev stream? You didn't, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay. You did watch Tenno Live?
Yeah.
When he was killing the Kuva Lich, the Warframe, like, a hack spike came out of his wrist, like in Assassin's Creed. Yeah? And that was used to actually kill the Kuva Lich. Right? So, likewise, I think that, right, should be used in Archwing. And you can aim it and fire it at a friend as long as they're within reach, and that can be used to revive them. I dislike how close you have to get, like, how little precision you have to actually res people.
I mean, if I were to get $1 for every single time that I would have flown over to an ally and pressed X and instantly got them to revive, I would have made exactly as much money as I've made from YouTube, which is 0. So yeah. It's horrible.
Don't we have that already with Jordis? I don't know what you're referring to.
With the Jordis fight, you're kind of being thrown out, but it's this one mission where it's like a story thing, and like, I actually like that use in a sense, but at the same time, like,
that fight is dumb.
Yeah, the fight is not good.
All right, it is supposed to be Lua without the capitals, right? No, never mind. Right, I think we're out of questions.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we're gonna round it off here.
Yeah. So
people can't tell, I'm in dire need of the toilet.
Okay. Well, I have one more important announcement to make right here about the FrameCast. So during the month of August, if you might be aware or might not be aware, I'll be taking the month of August off. I'll be going on a little break. I'm gonna be revisiting some of the content, thinking about what we're gonna be doing on, like, the new season, even though I don't do season. So we'll be back in September. We might be back a little bit earlier with the FrameCast, but, like, keep the first week of September as, like, the return, and maybe we'll do a week earlier, but we're gonna have to see about that. So for at least the coming couple of weeks, we will not have a FrameCast. We are going to be looking into integrating some new things, maybe the poll that we've wanted to try for a long time.
Yes, I want to do that. That was so cool. Like, I need to know, if anyone knows, right, how to do the poll that DE did, like, weeks ago in primetime, right? Tell us, because we want to do polls. We want to be able to live poll you guys and ask you a question and see what you guys say live. We want to get that interaction going, but we don't know how.
Yeah. So, anyway, first week of September, we'll be back. Thank you guys so much for watching the first 10 episodes. It's been an absolute blast. I've super enjoyed it. And also, for those of you watching that are watching it right now on my Twitch channel or YouTube channel, no content until the 1st of September, and then we'll be back. So yeah, just so you know, I'm super bad at announcing things, so be glad that I announce this now.
Yep.
But yeah, Sakamas, it's like the thing that we want. It's kind of like a straw poll, but instead of it just being like a straw poll where you put into your little things, it's like it shows up on the overlay in real time, so you can see it like shifting.
Also, the fact that it's what you guys put in thing in chat. Yeah, so like we go yes, no, then it just reads on that. Right. I'm going. I need to go. I desperately need to go. So catch you lovelies later, and we'll see you in a few